Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC and this is Blue Lions TV, and today I'm bringing you guys a Predict That 11 video for our upcoming game against Arsenal later this week. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't pressed the bell notification button, please press that. It only takes you a second, and stay tuned to all things Blue Lions TV. It's going to be a massive month for the channel. You definitely can't afford to miss out on any of the content coming out. But anyway, getting straight into the Predict That 11 video, starting with what formation I think we're going to use. Now, it's either out of the 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, and I think that for the game against Arsenal, we are going to see the return of the 3-5-2 system, as it seems to be Conte's go-to system for big games. He likes that central partnership of Hazard and Morata playing closer to each other, plus he likes that midfield three as well, so I expect us to use that formation against Arsenal. Now getting straight into this predicted 11, starting with the goalkeeper, and I see Courtois starting in goal. Obviously he is our #1 goalkeeper, but there really isn't much to say about Courtois at this moment in time, so moving on to the three in defence. Starting with the right hand side, and that's going to be Azpilicueta, and again with Azpilicueta there really isn't much to add about him at this moment in time as well, so I'm going to move in straight into the guy in the middle of the back three, and that's going to be Christensen. As we've seen in the past two games, without Christensen playing in the middle of the back three, Cahill has been deputising in that position to cover him, and it really shows you the levels between the type of defender you need to be to play in the middle of the back three. Now, even against Stoke City, Cahill did make 2 sloppy errors, and I think that's just natural because he isn't really suited to that middle of the back three position. You know, he let Berahino run in behind him, and he played on Mame Diouf as well, and really it's pivotal that the guy is very good at communicating, because you really have to lead the back three. Your positioning has to be great because you sweep up the danger and you have to notice the danger first. It's all about communication, and I really feel that communication is one of the biggest things that isn't really stressed about often when it comes to defending. It's going to be good to have Christensen back. We do know that David Luiz is nearly back to recovering. I expect him to come back in the next probably 2 weeks, if that. I don't see him leaving this January, in case people are wondering, but it's going to be good to have Christensen's composure in the middle of the back three. You know, I think he's been one of the standout players in defence so far this season, and you know, just imagine when this guy bulks up and gets bigger, he's going to be even more complete. And you know, we really miss his communication at the back and his distribution out from the back as well. And it's really a levels really between Cahill and Christensen if you think about it in that position. I mean, when have you ever seen anyone getting behind from Christensen? It just doesn't happen. Now moving on to the left hand side of the back three, and I see Conte using Rüdiger in this game. Now Rüdiger recently has been impressive in this past month, I must say. He isn't giving away as many unnecessary fouls or tackles as he needs to. His versatility is really key as well, because he is able to play on the right hand side and on the left hand side, and really we haven't really seen any weaknesses, because of course when you do have to swap positions when you play, it can be a bit jarring for most defenders, but Rüdiger is tailor made for playing on either side of the pitch, and his distribution has been a key factor as well. It really helps when you have someone else playing out from the back that can find the wing backs with long range passes as well, and also his ability to push forward as well has been nice. I mean, that run he went on in the recent game as well, when he pushed from defence all the way through midfield to the attacking areas, those late man runs really make a big deal, and it's one of the key reasons why Azpilicueta has been so fantastic this season with his distribution out from the back, because you do get unmarked. So if you are a guy that has ability on the ball, you have the time and space to play passes without getting any pressure from opposition teams. Now moving on to the wing back area, starting on the right hand side, and Victor Moses will play, and of course we saw recently the type of players that Conte will be picking for this game, because he either hasn't played them in recent games or he subbed them off pretty early. Victor Moses was another guy when Zappacosta came on for him, and with Victor Moses, really, as I keep stressing, it's just a light and day difference between his qualities and Zappacosta's. With Victor Moses, I would like him to be a bit more clinical inside the box, because often he does have the opportunities to actually move inside the box as well, and I think that for a guy that used to play in further forward positions, he should be a bit more clinical in those areas with his decision making. Too often, how many times was he making those runs in behind, getting on the end of passes from the midfield players to the defence, and he really wasn't testing the goalkeeper enough. He was always aiming straight at the goalkeeper. Moses has the ability to get in the box, as I keep stressing, and I feel that he should be a bit more clinical. Once he can add more goals to his game, I think he becomes an even more complete right wing back. Moving on to the left hand side, and Marcos Alonso will be playing, and I'm hoping during this period that we do see another left wing back come in, or hopefully Berber becomes fit enough to provide him with competition, because Marcos Alonso is a guy that when he struggles with fatigue, who really does struggle. Now, his goal contributions are very nice. It's a nice factor in addition to having the team. Does he necessarily translate that type of performance outside the box when he's in those wide areas? I don't necessarily think so at times. I think that when teams are very weak and mediocre, where they do give a lot of space, where Marcos Alonso can really utilize it, he does do very well. But in tight games where opposition teams will look to press aggressively, especially because Arsenal recently, they always press our wing backs very aggressively and try and stop us coming out wide, because Arsenal's game plan is to attack down the flanks. And we've seen that Marcos Alonso does really struggle in these games, particularly against Arsenal, because he does get beaten for pace. How many times have we seen Bellerin run past him in recent games against Arsenal, and that left hand side as well? So this is why I really do think that Rüdiger should be a great addition to have alongside Marcos Alonso, because what Marcos Alonso lacks in terms of pace, Rüdiger will help him with that. So I'm really hoping that's a combination we do see on the left hand sides. Now moving on to the midfield three, starting with the guy right behind them, and that is Conte. And with having Conte playing deeper, which I've always hoped that he would do, because honestly, even though it's nice that he is adding more to his game offensively, I think that he'll never get to that high class, world class level offensively that you'd really need for him to make a big impact to the team. I think with his ability to drop deeper, he gives us a platform for the more creative players have the license to roam in the box, roam forward, and actually play in more advanced areas. And the beautiful thing with Conte playing in the middle of the back three is that our formation actually changes. We become a 3-1-4-2 team, and that's how we create those overloads. And actually having that ability against Arsenal could really help us dominate out wide on the flanks, and Conte is really going to be key to that, and I think that he's going to help us try to dominate the midfield against Arsenal. Moving on to the left hand side of the midfield three, and I see Conte choosing Bakayoko in the team. Now with Bakayoko, this will be a great test, because recently, as I've been stressing, I feel that his performances have been standard. I think it's the bare minimum type of performance that a £40 million midfielder should be contributing to the team. Now, Arsenal will be a different test, and hopefully Bakayoko is going to be in the right frame of mind for the game in terms of being more confident. I think that he's definitely lacks at times in confidence. Sometimes he isn't as assertive with his tackling, and I think that also he isn't as assertive bombing forward inside the box as well. We've seen that in the areas where he is inside the box, his finishing has been pretty woeful. So with Bakayoko, it's going to be a big test for him in this game. And on the right hand side, I see Cesc Fabregas playing, and I think that he's going to be very key, because I think that Fabregas should have time and space in this game, because we should look to out midfield Arsenal in this current game, and his ability to find Hazard and Morata is going to be very key in this game. As I keep stressing, I really feel that he really complements the attack. He really is that glue that holds the midfield and the attack, because he does find the forwards and the wing backs with his distribution. Now ending the video with the front two, of course, that's going to be Eden Hazard and Alvaro Morata. Now starting with Eden Hazard. As we saw recently, Hazard was rested in the following game for this game against Arsenal, and I do understand tactically why the manager will do that. It does make a lot of sense, but Hazard is one of the very pinnacle players in the world, and honestly I feel that he should always be playing games. Maybe it's a fan of me, when I go to these games I like to see the top players playing. Obviously you're paying money to see them as well, but also I feel that sometimes we do deny Hazard the rights to maybe stat pad and his stat pad during the season, if I'm being honest. I think that when you look at a lot of your players like your De Bruyne's and stuff, most times he's making assists, sometimes it's after the second goal, the third goal's being scored. And you've got to realise people only look at the after effects of what's happened. No one's going to remember particularly skillful moments or great pieces of play or anything. And that's what Hazard normally does. This is why when people see Hazard playing live, it's completely different to watching him on TV, because you do remember the genius and you do see it in a first-hand basis. And I think sometimes, as I'm saying, we do deny him the rights to really stat pad. And I think that maybe if he was able to play a few more games or finish games where he was close to getting a goal, I think he would have got more goals, he would have more assists to his game this season as well, and I think he'd be in the contention for Player of the Year much more. And ending on Alvaro Morata, and again, as I was talking about Bakayoko, this is going to be another big test for Alvaro Morata, because again, he isn't as assertive when it comes to finishing chances. Now we know he's much more clinical with his head. I do feel that he can get the aerial advantage over Koscielny and Mustafi in this upcoming game, but with Alvaro Morata, he is definitely going to get one or two chances to really kill off the game and seal it, and it just comes down to, can he finish those chances in the moment? Is he decisive enough to take advantage of those moments? That's going to be quite telling, and it's hard to really predict that. All we can hope for is that Morata is going to feel very confident before the game starts, and hopefully he can get a goal with his head. That's normally his best chance of getting a goal in this game, but with Morata, I'm hoping that again, he's going to deliver the goods. Now that's the lineup I see Conte using for this upcoming game. Now I'm going to let you guys know what team I would use and what formation I would use for this upcoming game. Now I'm at a crossroads because I would like to see a 3-4-3. I feel that a lot of our attacking players are on form, Willian in particular, and I feel that with his current form he could actually provide a lot of nice things against Arsenal, especially because Conte is finally letting free movement across the front three, where Willian is able to collect the ball in the middle and on the left, and we've been seeing a much more rejuvenated Willian this past month. And I feel that we could really attack Arsenal and really get at them and prevent them from dominating out wide. But I do think as well that a 3-5-2 could be the formation. Now if it was a 3-5-2, I would have the same team, but I'd swap Bakayoko for Danny Drinkwater. I think with Danny Drinkwater, again, it seems to be very unfortunate because every time he plays very well and he contributes to the team. His defensive work, that relationship and partnership with Conte as well, his distribution as well, his tackling, he's been much more effective compared to Bakayoko. That fantastic goal he scored against Stoke City recently, I feel that he deserves to start in this game and he could really help us dominate in that midfield three. Now for a 3-4-3, I would actually use Drinkwater again in midfield with Conte, and I would have Willian out wide on the right. I think, as I kept stressing, the Conte-Drinkwater partnership is very underrated and very understated. And I think with Willian's fantastic form this past month, he could really damage Arsenal, because I'm noticing things that Conte are using the front three a bit differently, especially against Stoke City. How many times throughout that game were we seeing Willian pushing out wide on the left with Pedro and having Marcus Alonso, and in a way we're creating those overloads and outmanning teams out wide on the flanks. And I think this could be the key to beating Arsenal, especially because we have a Drinkwater Conte partnership in behind that's very solid. The communication is fantastic, they work well together, and a back three as well that could really give us a platform to really create those overloads and get our Arsenal to win. Anyway, you guys, thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment and subscribe, please. If you haven't watched my latest video on Arsenal, the combined 11 video, please watch that. Shout out to Harrison, amazing edit, fantastic work. The guy's got real talent and he's only going to get better and bigger in 2018. So if you support the channel, support the content, make sure you watch that video. It's going to be at the end screen after this video. And thank you guys for watching. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lines TV, signing out.